Welcome back, friends. Today we are diving deep, and I'm not talking about diving deeply into any reality TV recaps. Today we're going to talk about my favorite childhood movies. These are the movies that shaped my childhood identity, basically. And I'm not talking about like any Disney princess stuff, even though I did like that, but I was a little on the strange side, if you will, as a child. So these movies are whimsical, they're emotional, they're a little weird, and also a little unhinged, but in the best way. Let's just get into it. Wait, before we get started, I have a question for you. Do you have an unhinged or unserious take about reality TV? I want to hear about it. Go to channelsurfnetwork.com, click Hot Take Hotline, and leave me a voice note or send me an email with your most unserious or unhinged, unapologetic opinion about any reality TV show, no matter when it aired. Again, it's channelsurfnetwork.com. Click Hot Take Hotline, and I'm going to either read your email or play your voice note on my YouTube channel. Head there right now. Let me know how you feel. I want to react to it, and I'll let you know if I agree. Talk to you soon. Okay, back to the video. So here's a list. If you know, you know. We're starting out with Drop Dead Fred. It stars Phoebe Cates and Rick Mail, and it's about a little girl named Elizabeth who starts to see her imaginary friend again when her adult life falls apart. When she was younger, she had an imaginary friend, and her mom was convinced that she was psychologically ill, and so she made her take medication to get rid of him. And this imaginary friend is Drop Dead Fred, and he's a feral, messy, green-suited British man who makes fart jokes and destroys everything in sight. One of my favorite scenes from the movie is when they were at this party with Elizabeth, and Drop Dead Fred gets on the floor and he's like scooting around on the floor. He goes underneath this woman's dress. Okay, I mean, very problematic in 2025, but back then it was just funny to me. Anyway, he goes under this woman's dress and he's like, "Look, no panties." And I say that all the time. Anytime someone tells me like they're not wearing underwear, or for whatever reason it gets brought up in a conversation, and I know that sounds strange, but people are very free about telling you about their undergarments, apparently. But anyway, anytime somebody brings up not wearing any underwear, I always am like, "Look, no panties." And that's always just a nod back to that movie. It was one of my favorites. And at the time when I was a kid, I loved the movie because it was loud, unhinged, and completely ridiculous. But as an adult, I learned that underneath the comedy, it was actually about emotional repression, childhood trauma, and trying to reclaim joy after losing yourself. The next movie on the list is Hocus Pocus. I try to watch Hocus Pocus probably like once a year, typically around my birthday. My birthday is in October, and it's obviously spooky season. But yeah, I try to watch Hocus Pocus pretty often because there's so many things about this film that I absolutely adore. The costuming, the acting, the comedy, the music. I loved I Put a Spell on You. That's like one of my favorite songs from a film, but this was just overall 10 out of 10 for me. I loved it as a child, and I still love it as an adult. It stars Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy, and they play three witches who are sisters, the Sanderson sisters, who come back to life in Salem on Halloween night looking to feast on the souls of children. It sounds dark, but it's actually made for kids, and it's very funny. When you explain it that way, it's like that was your comfort movie, but it was. The Sanderson sisters were technically the bad guys, but they were also funny and fabulous, theatrical and glamorous, and completely obsessed with their own power, and I was obsessed with them. This movie sparked my love for like the spooky campiness and for strong, dramatic women who don't apologize for it. They made a sequel in 2022, and while it was very enjoyable, I watched it. The original is always going to be the GOAT. Nothing is ever going to compare to that. The next movie on the list, if you haven't seen this one, I'm judging you. It is The Nightmare Before Christmas. This movie is so special to me. I vividly remember going to buy the VHS tape with my dad. He picked me up from school one day, and we were about to go to Red Lobster, and there was a Best Buy next to Red Lobster, and I remember us stopping into Best Buy, buying the VHS, and then going next door to Red Lobster to eat. And it just sticks with me. My dad's currently in the hospital, and so obviously I've just been thinking about like all of the memories. My dad picked me up from school every single day, and we used to just have these like random adventures. And yeah, going to buy The Nightmare Before Christmas was one of those things that just sticks out in my memory. This is another movie that I try to watch pretty often because you can watch it during Halloween or during Christmas, and you get to sing along. I love a musical I will always remember. And I, Jack the Pumpkin King. That's I never said I was a singer, guys. The movie is directed by Tim Burton, and it's actually one of 2 Tim Burton films on this list for me. It's about Jack Skellington, who is the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, but he's bored. One day he's wandering out and he discovers a new town, and it's Christmas Town. He tries to then make it his own in his like Halloween Town way, but it gets weird and a little tragic. This movie was so beautiful to me. The music, the melancholy, the animation. It was about longing, about being the star of your world and still feeling like something is missing. I didn't really have the words for it as a kid, but I know that's what I felt. Also, shout out to Sally because she taught me a lesson too as I watched this movie as an adult. She was like the quiet girl that would sew herself back together, and sometimes she was the only person that could actually see the truth and see through everything. So there's a lot of hidden gems in The Nightmare Before Christmas, really in all of these movies, that when you watch them back as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, this was made for children, but there were actually some adult themes in here. Next up is a second Tim Burton film on the list, and that is Edward Scissorhands, starring Winona Ryder and the Johnny Depp. I think my mom actually had one of those like recorded tapes of Edward Scissorhands and Drop Dead Fred. And I remember her telling me she would just rewind it at night, pop it into the VCR so that when I woke up in the morning, I just had to push it in and I could just watch those 2 movies so that I wouldn't bother her while she was still trying to get some sleep in early in the morning. This movie still makes me emotional every time I watch it. Edward is a soft and gentle soul, but he has scissors for hands. He was created by an inventor who died before he could actually finish him. So he ends up in this castle all alone until this suburban mom finds him and takes him in. The suburban mom has a teenage daughter and some friends, and everything that you can think of that would happen when you bring an outsider into a small suburban community is what happens in Edward Scissorhands. And the cinematography in this film is beautiful. It's Edward's gothic look up against this backdrop of this pastel suburbia, and it's breathtaking. What this film teaches me as an adult is how people only love you when you're useful or harmless or interesting. In the moment you become inconvenient, they'll turn on you. It taught me so much about empathy, about being misunderstood, and about how people will misread you if you don't fit the mold. Next up is Mermaids. Not The Little Mermaid. I'm talking 1990 Mermaids, starring Cher, Winona Ryder, and a little bitty baby, Christina Ricci. Mermaids was low-key messy as hell, but I was here for it. I mean, that's how I knew I was going to be a messy girl growing up, because I was here for all of the drama that Mrs. Flax was getting herself into. The movie is about a single mom played by Cher who is raising her 2 daughters, and she constantly is relocating them when she decides to reinvent herself. Winona Ryder plays the angsty, holy daughter who wants to become a nun because she wants structure and holiness, while her mom is outside in the streets. She wants to be sexy and chaotic. But watching this movie as an adult, it teaches me that women don't have to be one thing. We don't ever have to conform. A mother can be deeply flawed but still full of love. And daughters can be dramatic and unsure and craving something sacred even if they don't fully know what that means. This film also introduced me to one of my favorite Cher songs. It's In Its Kiss. I know the actual name of the song is the Shoop Shoop song, but that's really hard for me to say, and I just love calling It's In Its Kiss. So if you have not seen Mermaids, go check it out. Now, this last one on the list is not for the faint of heart. It is A Welcome to the Dollhouse, starring Heather Matarazzo. Heather Matarazzo actually pops up in the Scream franchise, which Scream is my favorite horror franchise, so I'm eventually probably going to do a video about Scream, but Heather pops up in that franchise, and I loved seeing her because Welcome to the Dollhouse was like one of those unexpected movies. I think my mom or my big sister rented it from Blockbuster, and we ended up liking it so much, and I think my mom ended up buying it for us. I don't remember how I was introduced to it, but I remember that me and my older sister watched it all the time, and we would sing the song, Welcome to the Dollhouse. I'm going to stop singing because I know I'm a really bad singer, but I love singing, guys. But anyway, yes, Welcome to the Dollhouse is one of those movies where you watch it and you are so uncomfortable each time you watch it, but even more when you're an adult. I don't know what I found entertaining or intriguing about this movie when I was younger, but watching it as an adult, I'm like, this is so uncomfortable. uncomfortable to watch. The language, some of the terms that they use, the way Dawn is treated, it's like there's just no happy ending for this young girl, and it's actually quite sad. The movie follows Dawn Wieners, who is a socially awkward 7th grader who is bullied, misunderstood, and just trying to survive adolescence. It is not a polished coming of age story. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, but it is real. I didn't get bullied growing up, but I did relate to Dawn a little bit because of that feeling of being slightly off, of not being completely like your friends, and just having emotions and observations that you don't know what to do with. Watching it as a kid, I think I just wanted to be entertained, but watching it as an adult, I feel like there were some themes there that I just didn't recognize, but that I resonate with now that I'm older. And that's the theme of all of these movies on this list. They all have themes that I didn't recognize until I was older. They were about misfits and outsiders and people who felt too much, knew too much, or simply just didn't fit into the mold that was handed to them. And while I wasn't an outsider in the traditional sense, I had friends, I dated, I went to parties. I always felt slightly off from everybody else. But these films gave me permission, even if I didn't know it, to be emotionally layered and to be a little weird and exist somewhere between magical and moody. If you loved these movies growing up, your taste was not random. It was a reflection of something probably deeper and brilliant and probably a little misunderstood about you. So here's my challenge. Rewatch some of your favorite childhood movies and see if you pick up on any themes that you didn't notice when you were a kid. Then come back and let me know in the comments. Chat soon. Bye.